Okay, so let's see here. For those that are able to rejoin, apologies on the one cutting off. I think I fixed that, so just had to set my phone to focus more. Um, so we were talking about Chroma console. I think the last thing I saw in the chat was somebody mentioned, I think that was Ali Star mentioned the Empress. I think it was Zoya. Was that the Empress Zoya? Zoya. Let's go to that one. Let's find it. I'm only going to look at something new. Of course, here's one for 380 bucks. I would always say get the used if you can, but just for the sake of looking at it, we're just going to look at the new one. Yeah, 550. You're going to pretty much have unlimited amounts of presets, and people, I think they design with this thing. So we're in the so for whoever just came in, so we were talking about gear, and then of course I have to remember to set the phone to where it's a do not disturb, otherwise it'll kill the stream. Does that every time, and for some reason I never think about it when I'm getting ready to go live. So try to set it this time, so we should be good. So we were talking about in the previous one, we were talking about the Chroma console, which is right here. Here, I'll open it up. So this thing is like 400 bucks, brand new. And it sounds, from everything I hear, people love it. I haven't heard anybody tell me it's terrible. So that's one option we were talking about. And then somebody mentioned the Express Effects Zoya pedal, which is kind of cool to have effects if you want a bunch. I mean, there's so many effects in this thing you can load in. It's crazy. But I don't really, and they have a micro SD card too. Hey, what's up, Beats in Bed? Yeah, man, the Chroma. Everybody talks about running this with the MPC and how good it sounds. Yeah, it's expensive. What's up, Ali? Yeah, so the Chroma console is one that I'm interested in, but it's kind of pricey for what it does. But if it does it well and you like it, I mean, why not, right? I mean, the cool thing about this one is you got the filters, you got the cassette, you got, these type of I think this is the diffusion is kind of your sort of like your reverby type stuff and the reels. There's your distortions, fuzz stuff, and then your doubler, your vibrato, phaser, tremolo, etc. Does it add grit and texture? As far as I know, yes, it does. And like I said, there's videos. I think Bolo uses it with the MPC, and other people have said, yeah, the MPC in this work well. So what's going on, Sim? Yeah, Sim. So this one, 400 bucks, pricey, but yeah, I would definitely say this is a good one that I would look at. Now, my problem with this thing is it's too menu divey. I can't bring myself to like something. It does have the SD card, does have the MIDI stuff. I know you can sample on this thing too. They added in a firmware update, and they seem to keep updating it, even though it's like 550 bucks, where you could actually do sampling on this thing. It's insane, but it's a learning curve like no other. I know that much. What's up, Crazy Wabbit? We're just looking at gear and talking about it. Sometimes talking about it is like therapy. Covers a lot of ground. That's worth. Yeah, I agree, Ali. As it does cover a lot of ground. That alone makes this probably worth having as a box. You can get a lot of presets too. People make presets for it all the time, so you can get presets galore for this thing. And I think that alone, yeah, like Ali says, it makes it worth it. You have everything you need in one. Now I don't know how it sounds. I have no clue, but I've heard good things on videos from the Chroma console. It's just expensive. It's 400 bucks. I mean, is it worth $400 to you? I mean, you have to ask that. But we were looking at Sonicware for those that just came in. The Lo-Fi 12XT looks really cool. but I'm comfortable with saying I like the Roland P6 based on what I've seen a little bit more. I'm more intrigued by it, and partially because that's Roland. I tend to gravitate toward them. But this little guy here, this ambient machine, I definitely am interested in that from Sonicware. Any other boxes or devices or things like that that you guys interested in personally? Something that maybe strengthens what you already have? The Chrome is the best option. Yeah, I think for me it would be the better option. And I don't want a menu dive for a effects box. I'm not gonna this little bitty screen, I'm not gonna work on this to try to I mean it's like the move, right? I mean the move is cool, but it's like that little bitty screen, I can't do that. I'm getting too old, my vision is not that good. But the Chroma seems like it could do everything I need. And it wouldn't take a lot of deep diving to figure this out. You turn the button on, you can stack up to 4 different ones at the same time. Seems pretty easy to learn. If you look at the ins and outs, let's see, can we zoom in on this thing? Nope. You got the MIDI in and out right there, so it's pretty good. Not bad at all. Microcosm, yes, the microcosm is. Listen, I've been talking about the microcosm for a minute. Um, we can look at that while we're here. Why not? I'm using Reverb because everything's on Reverb. I always try to look at the one that's brand new because the used prices can be sometimes just unorthodox. They'll throw them all over the place. There we go. So this one right here is their actual store, the official store, hologram electronics. They make the Chroma. So man, if you had this and the Chroma, you'd be set. But that's a pricey piece too, $460. But this thing can mangle any piece of audio and give you something new. So that's kind of why I'm really interested in it. But again, it can be all over the place and it's hard to know exactly like you can save up to I think 4 presets if I'm not mistaken in it. But you're gonna when you get something like this, you want to explore as much as you can. Zulu. It's old, but I'm looking into grabbing one. Zulu. What is Zulu? So that's the microcosm. Let's see if I can find what you were talking about. Beats in bed, Zulu. This Audio Zulu. Whoo, they are pricey. Good Lord. I'm assuming you can't get this new, so you're going to be paying an arm and a leg when you buy something. So here's one when you buy it used. I bet it sounds amazing though. Wow. Yeah, that thing there, boy. Whew. Look at the back of this thing. It just looks interesting. Yo, did you say Zounds? Hey, Zounds is not doing business with me. They might do business with other people, not because I don't want to use them, but because they don't let me return anymore. They told me I returned too much. I said, "Well, how am I supposed to know how the item sounds or feels or if I like it if I don't have I said, "What's the point of a return policy?" They said, "Well, we put it there if it's like you need to return because but if you return too much, then they'll just cut you off." But what's dumb is like American Music Supply is pulling from the same warehouses and they will sell to me. So it's like, what? So I don't know. Zounds kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So yeah, I don't know what's up with them. I'm like, how do you run in a business and have a return policy and tell you somebody they can't return? Like you don't have displays up or setting like a store where I can walk in the store and try the item to see if it's something that I'm gonna like. Especially when you don't know. This black one is cool on that microcosm, by the way. Just side note. I'm gonna get rid of that one. And Zulu looks interesting. I just think it's one of those things where it's definitely not something. It looks like it's heavy too. But anyway, yeah, that's Downs for you. I ain't mad at them. That's their choice. I told them that's their choice. No, no disrespect, but I won't buy from you at that point anyway. I don't. you're one of the many people that sell. I can go anywhere else and buy it. It's just kind of upsetting because I was buying something for like $200. It wasn't even nothing expensive, something I really needed, and they wouldn't push my order through because they just felt that way. So I was like, whatever. Um, all around for so many things. I think need the analog. Okay, so you do like the analog heat MK2 effects might be the ultimate best option. I guess if you like the effects in it, for me, the only thing I ever liked when I heard people use it was just those tube emulators they put in there. For that price, I want, yeah, revert sound like ice. So you can, so that's funny. Yeah, no, if I'm going to pay, so I will say, yeah, for the analog heat, let's go there. Because there's no point in getting the older version. Here's one. So this is new, by the way. So at least it's new. $800. I would grab me two devices for $800. You could get the console and the microcosm for that price. So yeah, I mean, if you really wanted that bad, but I would go with two. They say it's a USB interface too, and that's cool, but I don't know. Um, I will not pay brand new for it. I'll wait to drop. Yeah, absolutely, crazy Wabbit. That's the best way to do. Wait for it to drop. Interesting descriptor, handsome. Okay. Well, I don't know where you saw that. I must have missed that, but that's funny. Oh, is it on the Zulu one? Handsome, yeah. It says it on all of them, so maybe that's what they're called, a handsome audio Zulu. Interesting. Tape simulator. That is funny. Yeah, that's whack, man. Zounds is whack for that. Cause like how you turn down a customer period these days when music is not buying gear is not a necessity. People have so many options now. So it's like to turn down a customer, and it wasn't that I wouldn't pay for items. It was just they didn't like if I didn't like the item that I wanted to return it. So what do you have a return policy for? What's the point if I can't return it if I don't like it? And so anyway, I'm not gonna get into Zounds right now. They annoy me with that. I sent them a nice little letter, just reminding them that's part of running a business is that you're gonna have returns. They end up selling that stuff anyway for like a few dimes later. They'll sell that thing off to somebody else, and somebody will buy it. So I don't understand their point. Plus, don't you have to pay? Yeah, so you do, and that's the thing. I did. I pay for the return. If I get it and I just don't like it, I have to pay for the return, which I'm fine with. So the money I put down, so let's say you buy an item, it's $1,200. You put down $100, right? Because you got to pay the first payment. They take the $100 and they ship it for free. But if you return the item and because you just didn't like it, then they take maybe $40 out of that, right? And refund you 60. That's fine. I paid to try it, right? But and I'm okay with that. But to turn down customer service and say, well, because you return a lot. Well, some items I returned that were broken. Like legit, I told them this is broken. The company knows it. They told me to return it. So I returned it and they didn't like eating the cost because they have to eat the cost if the item doesn't work. Handsome Audio, that's the company. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, thanks for that clarity, Beats in Bed for sure. And they aren't even paying for what they paid for the item. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, Zounds is what they are. I'm not this. Listen, if they work for you, great, use them. I don't hate them or anything like that. It's just I think their customer service who chose to say they will no longer sell to me was kind of like they didn't even give me a call and say they sent me like an email just saying they'll no longer serve because I've returned in the past. And it was in the past. I hadn't bought from them in years. They were like, in the past, you returned a lot. What? So anyway, they crazy. Yeah, and there's a fee too. That's another thing. Yeah, they do a fee on the payment plan, depending on what you get. Yeah, man, I'm sorry. I just have to speak the truth that they did it to me. I would pull the email up, but I'm not going to do that and put that out there. Because one day, if they decide to rekindle their thoughts, I don't want to be like, you know, totally put them down on YouTube, but I am putting them down on this saying that they made a bad choice. I told them they were making I said you're making a bad choice. I do YouTube videos on gear. Sometimes I'll get a gear. If I don't like it, I'll return it. It's true, but they just wasn't having it. And it's funny because they give other people I know like the option to buy and return, or they're not buy. They're giving you a loaner, what they call a loaner, where you can borrow it and then return. So if you're giving somebody a loaner, what's the difference in me paying you some money to get the item and then returning it? It's just dumb. Yeah, it's a matter of principle. Exactly, greed on there, and yeah, and it's wrong. No matter what we say, it is wrong. You're right, Crazy Wabbit. It's they act like gear is food in your house. Like it's like, oh, I need that to feed my family. I'm not a paid musician. Well, maybe I am paid in some ways if I get paid through YouTube for clicks or whatever. But I'm not paid musician out there touring, So when I buy a piece of gear, I'm buying it to really use it. And if I don't like it, I have to send it back. Yeah, how do you have a business that you don't like returns? But anyway, it is what it is. It's on them to make it right. If they want me to buy from them, I'll call them one day just to see if they still feel that way. But I just don't feel like dealing with them right now. I just go to American Music Supply and they hook me up just fine. So if you ever, they're all pulling from the same warehouse. But if I go here, I got the MPC key at 37 I got it from American Music Supply. I got the SP I got it from them. So it's fine. It's no big deal. I'm not tripping anymore. It is what it is. Call them and be like, it's the returns king here. Exactly. Returns king, baby. Y'all need to let me have some gear so I can return it to you. And what's funny about that is I don't smoke or do anything. So my stuff is very clean. I'm very like, keep this clean, organized. I have it in one location. I don't ever send a piece of gear back. Like I went to the store to Guitar Center, just so you know, I have a Guitar Center really close. I go to Guitar Center to look at some gear, and the workers were complaining and I was like, "What's wrong?" Because I know them right personally, and they were like, "There's this guy who comes in, and he's a smoker, and he smokes with the gear, and then returns the gear within like maybe 10 or 15 days, but the gear looks like it's been run through the streets and dragged through the mud. That's how he treats the gear." And I'm like, what? And so they showed me the gear. It looked bad. They were like, that's basically returning champion. Yes, sir. Um, so he was like, that's why he said, we hate selling to him, but we can't not sell to him. And I was like, so that's how Guitar Center felt about it. So I'm just saying that to say these companies know when somebody's returning something, if they return it and it looks decent, it's not tore up looking, then there shouldn't be no issues. And they can charge you a little small fee if you return it. So it's not a big deal. All smoked up, smoky gear. Exactly. Well, this is the thing. Like as soon as you smoke and have gear, you can't sell it for the same price because people they want smoke free stuff. But it's funny how they do that. It's hilarious to me. Um, so I'm just looking at gear that might interest everybody because I do play guitar and bass. So I do like other stuff, but we're talking about just samplers right now and other gear. But check out Sonicware if you their casing and stuff like that seems cheap in my opinion, but if it sounds good and this one's only like $239, that's not bad for this piece of gear that you can use. And then they have, of course, everybody knows about the Lo-Fi 12 XT. It looks like they have a new update for it. Products. There it is. So this one has that 12-bit. And it looks like they marked this down. Okay, so they're now doing it at an intro deal of $399. So that's not bad. This version though looks better. $429 for this version. That little screen is bothersome to me, but at least it's still usable. It seems like they would have made it just a little bit wider, like right here, extended it out just so you could have a little more real estate on it. Lo-Fi 12-bit, yeah. Crazy Rabbit. What? I know of him. I don't know him very well. I've been to his streams or whatever. Yeah, he's a return person too. Well, the problem is if they would open up stores nearby in locations where there's enough people, then people could go to the store and try the or put their stuff in like guitar centers, because guitar centers are still open some in some locations. So if they put their stuff in these stores where people could go in and actually try this gear out, then it would be way less returns, because people could just be like, you know what, that ain't it. I don't want that. And then they just wouldn't. But what they think is that you're going to buy it, hold on to it, and you're just going to give it a long. Listen, I know within usually a week's time that I ain't keeping it. It don't take that long for me. I get it. If I'm not picking it up every day within the first week, I'm probably not going to keep it. Oh, he smokes this. He smokes electric cigarettes. That's why. Yeesh. Yeah. Yeah, I ain't. Yeah, I'm not bringing none of that. I don't smoke, so, but I'm not. We're not gonna have that happening. Put no. Um, Even like with my hands or whatever, I'll wash my hands before I use the gear, or I'll do just to be keep it clean. Now these MPC pads, they do pick up. They pick up every bit of dust and dirt, so they're hard. I used to buy the little Deck Saver stuff to go over the top of them, but Deck Saver is starting to get a little expensive for a piece of plastic to go over the top of it. So I wish Deck Saver would come down on them prices. I think the one they got for the MPC Keys 37 is like $89. By the time you buy that, you just spend $100 just on something to put over the top of your gear to keep it from getting dusty. Sonic Wear doesn't do it for me from a looks perspective. I'm with you 1,000%. From a looks perspective, it's not very like this speaker thing here. What is this? Like seriously, what is this? Another thing that drives me crazy about them is like they don't always have all the pads. They're like 15 but not 16. I always feel sort of cheated. Like, wait, you couldn't put another pad on there, huh? That's what you did to me? So yeah, it does feel kind of weird. That's funny. But I am interested in the Roland stuff. I like the portable stuff too, a little bit better. I wish they would make this where they could have a top that's interchangeable, so that you could put like a skin almost over the top of it. But I don't know how you would do that with this, because you're relying on these backlights for so many of these pieces that I don't think it would work. Like when you look at this one, if you put a skin over this top of this thing, hold on, let's do. I mean, I guess it would have to go in between the buttons to make sure, because some of this stuff is backlit. But maybe somebody will come up with something that sits over it, just to give you a different look on it and make it would be kind of nice. But anyway, you couldn't cover that screen up. You'd have to leave the screen open so you could see it. Imagine if Reverb started illing on selling too much gear. Yeah, I know. They tripping. If Reverb started doing that, they'd be done too. Yeah, for sure. Any user of the MPC Live versus Live 2, here Live 2 pads are better in terms of lasting longer. I've had both. I can't say the Live 2 is better. Here's what I'll say about the Live 2. The speaker, if you really want those speakers, and then the Live 2, you should get it. If you don't care about the speakers, and I think there's one more button on the Live 2 that the Live 1 is missing, but you don't mind touching the screen, because you're going to be touching the screen. Yeah, I'm back, man. The other stream went out because I forgot to turn the phone on not on focus. You got to turn it off where nobody's calls can push through. As soon as a call push through on your phone, it's done. But yeah, it's so if they had something where what were we talking about? The MPC Live 2. So let's look at the MPC Live 2. MPC Live 2. So okay. We ain't gonna do that, huh? Maybe I gotta learn to type. I'm just gonna type MPC. Okay, there we go. Jeez. Look at the Deck Savers. See? $89 for an MPC Deck Saver for a one. Come on now. $89 for this one. That's just too much money. Anyway, getting down to the live. Where is it at? Right here. So the live two. So there's one button in here. I can't remember if it's the mix button or the mute button. One of these buttons, I think it's the mix button, is not there on the live one. And of course, you don't have the speakers. But I think everything else, if I'm not mistaken, is on both. I like the live two, and the battery is kind of nice to have that 4-hour battery, so you can just sit around and don't have to be tethered to a wall or somewhere plugged in. The MPC One is my favorite as far as the layout on it. Plus, you get all the buttons, so you don't have to deal with touching the screen as much. The Key 37 is really nice too. For that reason, I just use the buttons. I try not to touch the screen too much. But this is more of the all-in-one purpose here. If you really want to make music, I don't think anything's going to beat MPC as far as all-in-one. Everything else is kind of missing pieces. I don't know if you guys know this too. I'm going to skip out on the Sonicware, go to Sweetwater. If you're Ableton and you really like the Move, or you like just the push or any of that stuff, Sweetwater is the only company that I know in America, at least, that is selling the Ableton push stuff. And they actually are really good. I have no issue. Well, I've had one issue with them. Stay away from like the stuff that says, I mean, if you're going to do the 6 months, you might as well, yeah, don't do this 3-month stuff. I mean, if you just want to do that, do it. But for whatever reason, like, you got to get their card, right? That's the unfortunate part. You got to use their card to benefit from these payment plans, which I just hate that they do. It would be nice if they let you get these payment plans on a credit card, regular credit card, because these cards are higher interest for buying gear. So anyway, that's a finance thing. I'm not telling anybody how to handle their finances by no means. Okay, so let me go over here. But anyway, if you decide you want a Push 3 standalone or just the Move, this is the only place other than going to Ableton to buy it, if that's your workflow. I don't want to spend this much for this. I feel like I could do, it's not happening. It's too big, number one. If you've ever used the 2, you know it's too dang big. That's what the 2 should have stood for. It's too dang big. And then on top of that, it's like, I'm not really a big MPE person. I don't really care for that. I just don't need it. I'd rather the keyboard. So for me, this is a no-go. But the good thing about it is it's available there if you decide you want it. The other thing that I was looking at was the Launch, what is it called? The Launch Key MK4. So they came out with the MK4s if you're using Ableton. In my opinion, I would just grab one of these instead of the Move, because I already know the Move's going to turn into it's going to turn into a controller. As soon as you get it, you're going to be like, man, this is just a controller. You have the Rolly Block. Oh, you sold your Push 2? It hogged up the bed. You like the Push 2 is the Push 2. I played one in the stores. It was pretty cool. They had one at Guitar Center. I tried it out. I have to say I thought it was cool. It slows you down a little bit because I'm way faster with a mouse and a QWERTY keyboard. But that could be a good thing. It just depends on what you want to do. The other thing is these new keyboards, these Mark IVs that they came out with, they're more affordable, as you can see right here. Very much more affordable. Here's the 37 key mini one. And what's cool about them is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, well, outside of the scale stuff that they offer in them, the pads are better. Look how much bigger. These pads are bigger too. You got all the knobs that you get from the Push. Now look at this screen. Just look at this screen. This is a controller, right? Now I know this is Novation, and I don't know if Novation had any dealings with the Move. You see how big this screen is? If you've seen the Move, you know what the Move looks like. Look how big this screen is. Why couldn't they put that big of a screen on the Move? This thing is only $150. The Move is $450, and they couldn't put a bigger screen on there. Screen be like micro, yeah. Yeah, the reviews of the Move have not gotten me excited either, Crazy Wabbit. Yeah, yeah, I need a bigger screen too. My vision ain't that good. And the reality is, I mean, this is decent. I don't like touch strips on keyboards. That's not really my thing, but I would tolerate it. But I'm just saying, this big old screen. And look at all this real estate between these items. You see all this space over here? So my questioning is, with all this space here, why couldn't they just make the keyboard, have this keyboard here be like the Move, like a portable keyboard? They could have made this in a 25 and a 37 because there's a lot of space on this side and a ton of space on this side. And this is 37. This would have probably moved me to grab the Move. And they could have come down on that price. So that price could have been, let's say if the price would have been 350 instead of 450, $200 more. You get a little bit bigger screen, or this size screen would have been fine. And then you get the keys with it versus just the pads. But with this much space, they could have made, the pads. And see, you could get more tracks too. That'd be the other thing. Like, can we get more tracks to be able to do it? I don't know. Just a thought. 250, that's your target price? Micro Machine Business. Yeah, they tripping, man. I mean, 450, you can get an MPC, a used MPC one. You could definitely get a SP. Look at the screen on the SP 404 Mark II, how big that thing is compared to what they're giving. So I don't know. And then 64 gigs, but 14 of them are taken up by them. So you really only getting 50 gigs that you can use. There's no SD card slot on that thing. So I'm just like, there's too much. They talk about limited. Of course, you limited, charge me more and limited everything. The whole limitation thing is just a joke. You're limited by only what your creative ability is and what you push yourself to do. It's not a machine that makes you limited. In fact, people with limited stuff and gear don't always finish music. They just make little ditties and no pause. They just make little songs or little whatevers, and they don't never finish the music anyway. So then they tell you, well, yeah, but it's just to get you started and then go to Ableton. I might as well just go to Ableton at that point. Why am I wasting time in a little machine that I don't understand people's thoughts, because you can use the QWERTY keyboard on your computer and sit there and play melodies and stuff on it and drum in your little parts if you want. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, it doesn't impress me at all. Novation makes better, in my opinion, better stuff than whatever's going on with the with Ableton, and the fact that you get a full, like, a keyboard, man. The pad playing is okay, but when you got a keyboard, I feel like I can get more done. But hey, if you need the MPE pads, more power to you. But yeah, these are nice. The mini key one kind of intrigues me a little bit. If I wish they put wheels on it for the instead of those sliders, but I could tolerate it. I mean, if you need the wheels, you just go with this version of it. You just lose the mini keys and go with this version, and you get the wheels. There you go. So now you have all that. And you see they use the space over here for the metronome. The MIDI capture is all right there. So yeah, to me, this is a better deal if you want keys and to have the pads up here and to be able to have wheels, and you still get the knobs. You get everything that you need to still make good music. We need wheels. Yes, we do. That's new sound packs on the Machine 3. Machine 3. So I'll talk about that one. I never use Machine, to be honest with you. I've seen them in the stores. I know a lot of people speak highly about the pads. I don't know how the software works. Here, I'm going to look at the Plus. So I like these screens, though. Look at this. This is nice. And the pads are they were nice actually. When I tried it in the store, I didn't really get into making music with it. I just was trying it out to see what it does. I don't know the machine workflow very well, but I do know that a lot of people speak highly of the sounds that Native Instruments. Now, listen, I have Complete 13. I ain't touched that thing since I bought it, or I might have Complete 12. One of those. I don't use their stuff. I'm not a Native Instruments fan, but I do like the fact that they have these screens. This is kind of nice. Everything seems to be right there in your face. If they ever made one that actually had a better processor in it, because I know the processor in this thing is not that good, even though it shows these 19 reviews for 4.5, because it's not as good as the MPC processor. But it is nice nonetheless. Um, so I'm not, since I don't use it, I'm not going to speak too much on machine. You guys can talk about that since you actually use it. Yeah, I'm with you, Crazy Wabbit. I hope they jump into the portable space. That's one of the things that I'm hoping that they do, because as much as I love this MPC Key 37, if they make a portable one, I probably would give this up for that, just because I'm more interested in smaller. This MPC Key 37 takes up so much space on my desk. It's not because it's long horizontally, but it's just because it's so bulky, right? It's a bulky pause um, controller slash uh, synthesizer or whatever else you want to call it. Etch a Sketch has a faster process. That's funny. We need wheels. We do. I heard machine was well built and nice touchpads. Yeah, I think it's the processor in processor that people have the issue with. Like this is the controller. It's 600, right? For this is in America. I don't know what it is in the UK or in Europe, but 600 for this, not bad. And I mean, of course, the sounds are all organized nicely. If you just need a controller, this is like I would say a fairly good price with these big old screens for a controller. Not too bad, and you can find them used sometimes in different places too. I would never buy one just because I'm really heavily into Ableton, and I really not a big fan of the workflow of Native Instruments. But I don't discredit it because I've never used it to say much about it. But 8 gigs of samples, okay. So did you secure? Yeah, I did secure. I do have the P6 coming. Well, it's not in my hands, but I already ordered it. So it's just it probably take like 3 to 5 days. I ordered it through Guitar Center, believe it or not, because the Guitar Center is probably like 5 minutes from my house. And if I don't like it, or if I think it's just like some people really like that, if I get it and I'm like, yeah, this ain't it, I could just ride to the Guitar Center and then return that thing. And it's not a big deal. They don't trip because I know everybody there, and they're not tripping if I just, want to return something. They'll sell it to somebody else, and they know I take care of stuff. I treat stuff like it's not mine. Well, some people treat stuff bad that's not theirs, but maybe I should say I treat stuff like it is mine. But anyway, whatever. People do that opposite of that too. So yeah, I'm excited about it, mostly for that lo-fi. I talked about it before. Being able to sample, change the sample rate on stuff. That's a huge thing. In fact, I think it was the SP202, if I'm not mistaken, that has that same sound, that lo-fi, and the filters in it I heard were pretty good. So what we got 20, counting the reverb and delay, you have 22 effects on this little box, and it's portable and battery operated, and you got a sequencer at the bottom. Oh, let me move this little guy's face over here. Yeah, and you got a sequencer at the bottom, and you got granular in here, which is kind of cool. And you can plug in a keyboard, and you get the velocity sensitivity on from your keyboard into it. So if I want to use it with the MPC, I could do that, or I could start us. They talk about always something start something on the move and then send it to Ableton. I can start something in here and then send that to Ableton. So no, it doesn't have an Ableton thing where you send it out, but you can just like old school, you could kind of just port out everything. My thought is I might use this with the MPC to help color some of the sounds in the MPC, like some of the pianos and things, and then take that and sequence it in the MPC. If I decide to keep the MPC, which I'm probably going to keep it. I've had it now to where I would have to sell it anyway, and I actually really like it. But I'm always looking at other stuff. That's just the way it goes. Yeah, yeah. People sleep on it because they don't. They think, well, it's plastic. Okay, well, maybe Move should have thought about that and used plastic because it would have been cheaper for them, maybe. So I don't care about the fact it's plastic. I do wish they would have put a better screen, like a screen where it's not this four character based screen. That's one thing I wish they would have changed. But I've heard good things that once you get used to the screen, the little what they mean, just like with the SP, having to get used to the shift functions and all that, that you're fine. All the stuff is all labeled on there anyway. Roland does a good job of putting it down below. So all you have to remember is shift combinations. It's not that doesn't bother me so bad. I think a lot of people get upset about that. It really doesn't bother me. Um, People aren't eating their gear. Always complain. Yeah, my thought with complaints is people are gonna complain no matter what. It's just what it is. People will complain. But I'm with you on the Aria. I think it's called Aria series. I should put Roland maybe. Yeah, so here they are right here. Look how affordable they are too. I'm not even gonna include the voice. I'm just gonna say if you picked up all four of these, you got the compact, you got the J chord synthesizer. Now, my thoughts on this one is I would replace this with like my phone or the iPad, where I can use scalar because I know the chords I'm gonna have more options on the chords. The T8 beat machine, I don't really need a beat machine, so for me, it doesn't really move me. The S1 does. I am interested in the S1, and the price is super affordable, but I'm only interested in the S1 if I can make drones and stuff like that. That's where the Sonicware comes into play for me because I want this particular one because I can get all these four layers of noise and drone and pads. Don't really need it, but just kind of want that one. And so if I could do some, I saw this one video of this guy. He made this. I don't know what it was. Very abstract, very ambient um, thing using this and the S1, and that kind of moved me into looking into it. Granny effect. You have Oh, you have all four. Is that what you're saying, Crazy Wabbit? You have all four? Aria compacts are legit. People, yep. You can make your own shortcuts on the MPC. Yeah, that's true. You can make your own shortcuts. Yeah, the MPC is not hard to use. I mean, I have it. You can't see it because it's sitting below this computer, but I have that. Yeah, the MPC is good. I have no. Well, since this new update with the MPC, I have very few complaints. Other than that, it takes a little while for the certain plugins, particularly the pianos, to load because they're loading off of the SD card. So yeah, because I don't want to put all that stuff on the internal or slow it down even further. Um, S1 is fun. J6 is great for chord generating. Yeah, I've heard some good stuff on the J6. The J6 is cool, but because I can use MIDI in like with the iPhone or whatever, I can use tonality or anything to create that. Hey, what's up, mean? I have a complaint. Where's you? Yeah, man. Listen. I want to do a vinyl album. I would, if I did one right now, I would go back and put probably the previous album I did, which was one of my favorite albums that I put together. I like all of them, but I would put that one on vinyl. So I went to look into what vinyl cost to get one vinyl. Just figured I would get one, right? and it's about you can get one for about $70. That's not too bad because if you go out and buy somebody's vinyl, it can be anywhere from 40 to 70 just to get one of them, right? So I thought about doing it for myself so that I could have a vinyl, kind of like a, I don't want to call it a trophy piece, but kind of like something I could just say, oh, this is it. But I don't know if I want to spend $70 just on it yet. But I'm still thinking about it. I am thinking about it, and I know you telling me to do it. So I am gonna do it at some point. I just got to figure out when. T8 is probably my least favorite. Which one? Let me see which one the T8 is. Yeah, the Beat Machine. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. A bass synthesizer. I don't really need a bass synthesizer or um, drum machine, especially if you have the sampler. I could just use the sampler to do the drums. I don't need a chord synthesizer, and I don't need this. The S1 is probably the only other one that and I'm not about to record my voice through some little tweaker box. That's just not happening. Yes, I don't really want that. Um, the Udo Super 6, sarcasm. I would say I know what that is, but I have no clue. I'm assuming you're joking because I have no clue what that is. Thanks for stopping in, Mean. I don't know if you hanging around or what you're doing, but the Udo audio. I'm gonna look at it right now. Mean actually put me on to this thing is huge. This is a real oof at that price. Yeah, not happening for me, but it is interesting though. Polyvinyl binder. Yeah, that's man, that thing there. I would be spending too much time trying to make something with that thing. All the button I have to press to do so. The Hydrasynth Explorer, that was the one Mean put me on to. And for the price, I still think this is one of the best, $600. And it can act as your MIDI controller. The touch strips were not bad at all, though I'm not a fan of it. But if you can look closely at the screen, you can see right over here, there's a random button. You see that button? Man, I must have used that button on so many songs. You just press, did it go away? You press random, and it literally generates random presets, like instant random presets. And just keep pressing it till you find, because you can go in and sit there and tweak each one of these buttons over here. It takes forever. If you got time for that, it's not so big of a deal. But this little guy here is the same size as the Micro Freak. You do have to plug it in. It's not no batteries, but it sounds actually pretty good for FM synth. You got the MIDI on the back, so you could plug in like the MIDI dongle if you want to do the Bluetooth out and use it as a MIDI controller, which is pretty cool. It has headphones and the output. So if you haven't checked this out, you can look at some of my old videos I did on it. But the Hydrasynth is actually still very classic, good sounding FM synth that actually has the ability to sound natural in some ways. It's got the wave scan, the wave shaping, the dual filters in it. There's your filters. So you filter 1, 2, and then you have like the aggregator, I think is what they call it, or ARP. I'm just gonna call it an ARP that you can do. It's pretty cool, and you can save a bunch of presets in it. Inside your system. AMS is legit. Yeah, they are legit. Yeah, that's right, Crazy Wabbit. I think you have it, right? Yeah, you do. I think I've seen it in your videos. Yeah, I don't know if I. Oh, this one has batteries too, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at it just to make sure I remember right. It's been a while since I had it, so let's see. View all 9. How did they not show the back of it? That's weird. It's not super big, too. Like I said, if you had a 30 set, the keys are small though on it, but it does have the aftertouch. And what was the other thing that was special about it? The polyphonic aftertouch. Yeah, it has the polyphonic aftertouch. And so if you've ever used it, you know it's pretty good. So this is a good piece of gear for this price. If you can afford this, this or the Micro Freak are both pretty good. Or is that the Mini Freak I'm thinking? Not the Micro, but the Mini. I think it's the Mini Freak. Now I have the Mini Freak software from Arturia, which has the sounds in it. So this is a new one. Is this something new over here? No, that's something old. Okay. So yeah, it's the same price too, by the way. If you catch it on sale during Black Friday, sometimes you can get these on sale for like $4.99. Then you got a good deal. I don't the one thing I hated about this one, if you don't like small screens, here's your screen. It looks bigger than what it is. If you can see over here, this is your screen. It's like this little spot right here. This is knobs, right, to turn. The screen is so small. So, but you can do your preset stuff on the computer if you don't mind doing that. And the other thing was, it kind of disappointed me the way the I was hoping for the, what is this called, sequencer, to be better. It wasn't that good to me. It was kind of weak compared to what I was thinking it was going to be. There's a lot of stuff at the time when I had it. There was a lot of stuff wasn't updated. I'm telling you, man, DeckSaver is making a killing. $100 for this? Like, really? Anyway. Mini Freak is fire too. Yeah, yeah, the sounds from the Mini Freak. I have them though now on the plug-in, and I'm cool with having them on the plug-in. AMS needs to make a HydroSynth rack mount sound module. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. They do. I have one rack mounted. Oh, well, never mind. I guess Crazy Wabbit has it. Oh, so I guess they have a rack mount. Well, that's cool. Well, we learn from each other, I guess. So there you go. Yeah, the ASM stuff is really good though. I really wouldn't mind if I had space for it, and well, space and money. I wouldn't mind having the bigger version, this one right here, the 49 key one, just because they have that ribbon, and I always wanted to try it. It's not on the one I have. Plus, the screen is so much bigger, so you can do your editing a little bit faster and less up and down pages. Because there's a lot of pages in this thing if you've never used it before. But I also like the fact that it has real wheels on it. That's huge. But yeah, if I had the money and the space to just have one of these sitting around, I would definitely buy this board because I like it. And their prices are reasonable for what they offer. I mean, even the desktop version, though I'm not gonna buy it. Look at the desktop version, is nice. If you don't need a keyboard, this is nice. I mean, it's not too. If you catch these on sale too, why not? So we're just looking at stuff. Yeah, the Sonicware stuff looks weird. For me, if it's more about the sound in this thing that intrigues me. Let's see where we're at here. I'm definitely not going to be touching analog heat, though. Hear great things. And the chroma still is something I'm kind of interested in. I like to see, the problem with me with this is I want to try it, but I don't want to commit myself to it until I know if it's something I would use. So it's kind of hard to know that when they don't sell it in the stores. MPC. I'm gonna look at I wanted to look at the DeckSaver too for the MPC. See, they don't even have it on here. You have to go to the website. But I think the DeckSaver is like $150 for the Key 37. It's just not not worth it to me to spend that much money on it, on a DeckSaver. All right. Yeah, it's heavy. I'm not trying to buy no heavy gear stuff nowadays. I mean, this is the heaviest piece I got is this MPC Keys 37. So yeah, that will not be happening. What else? One I bought used, the previous owner had the rack mount ears. Oh, okay. So iOS apps. We're talking about iOS apps. Let me see if I can. I think if we go. So I'm kind of not doing. Let me see if I just go to Apple Store. Developing in the App Store. Open the app. No. Let me just open. I think I can look at the App Store on here. So, as far as the app stores go right now, I haven't really been touching much on there. One Shot is probably the last one that I bought that I enjoy. But there's a lot of apps on here. I'm just, iOS. The problem I have with iOS is I get into it for a little bit, but I never want to finish anything on iOS. So I kind of struggle with sticking it out on there. Ableton just makes it so much easier for me that I don't have to really touch much of the iOS. And then what's cool is sometimes, every now and then, you get this right here. I'll show you something that's really cool with some of the iOS apps. What's up, Square Breaker? Some of the apps, AUV3, will work on desktop. They work on Logic, and I know for sure Ableton. But here's Koala. You have Koala. You got Dr. Vibe. If you guys haven't checked out Dr. Vibe, it's on iOS. One of my favorites. You get that 303, that Lo-Fi 202. So that kind of stuff is cool. Any of the Relic flows, I use those. Those all work on there. Relic waves, iOS. So you buy these on iOS, and then they work in here, which is cool. Spacecraft. I have Spacecraft on desktop and iOS. Oops, that's not the right one. I think that is. Yeah, so Spacecraft, which I have the desktop version. I just use that. And then any of the Igor, his name is Igor, I think it is, that creates this is Stellar Vox. All of his stuff works on, for the most part, works on iOS. Recently, I noticed they added this one. I don't know if anybody uses this, which is Rim de Guerre or whatever I think it's called. It's a cool little mangling tool for sounds. So that kind of stuff is cool. But as far as gear, I'm very picky on gear. I'll try an app quicker than I will on some type of gear, but just depends on what you're looking for. Otherwise, you mess with the P6 sales. Roland will never add that. SP needs the granular and the sample rate, but that's wishful thinking. Yes, I agree with you. The SP does need that. Here, we're going to get out of this. I agree. With this being a passion product or passion project, let me say it the right way. I don't know how much more the Roland will add to this. I think they're moving away from this type of stuff and leaning towards the Aura, more portable stuff that they can make a lot easier. So yeah, I don't think that you'll ever see. It would be cool if they did an actual granular box. If they're gonna make the Aura stuff, if Aria, let me say it right, Aria stuff, it would be cool if they did one that was like, because it's kind of popular right now, but like they made a reverb delay / granular box or something, kind of like what's that? Is it the S4 that came out from what's that company? Torso Electronics or whatever. Anybody ever mess with their stuff? Here, I'm gonna get off of this and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think it's Torso. Yeah, Torso Electronics. So this is like granular, right? It's kind of a new thing they came out. It's very expensive. You can see it right here. But imagine if you could get something similar to this in like the Aria, where you could take 4 different granular parts and manipulate them. Yeah, Torso S4. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit pricey, but imagine if Roland would come out with something like this where you could see the on-screen granular, and then you could build just make one of those little boxes that have it. Doesn't have to be a huge screen because this isn't even. If you look at this, this doesn't even look that big. It's not. I mean, it's big, but it's not like that big. But yeah, something like that would be cool if they came out with that. Tempera 2 on granular. P6 nice and small, but I already use Koala sampler and on the go. It's more portable. Yeah, but I will say this because I'm on the beta team with Koala and I can't say anything about what they do or not. I'm talking about where we're at right now with Koala. There's a lot of stuff in Koala that it's great for just doing simple sampling and making simple tracks, and you can do some manipulation with stretching the audio, but they're not adding a granular synth in there. They're not, I mean, you're not going to get all that stuff. So one of the things that I think if you couple Koala with the P6, or look up the P6 again, if you couple Koala with this, you get the tactile feel of something to put your samples through. And Koala does not have a sample rate, the lo-fi sample rate, where you can adjust the rates. You can make it sound like it's grainy and all that, but it doesn't have that in there. Plus, a lot of people forget this is 6 pads per bank, and there's 8 banks, so there's 48 total samples that you could do. And 6 seconds is not all there is. If you lower the sample rate, you get more seconds for your per sample. So you can do your drums in here. You can put one shots in here and play them across. At least I know they got 4 octaves, if not more. So you can hook a keyboard to this and do some stuff like that. Now you can do some similar stuff in Koala, but you're not going to be able to. Koala is just a simple sampler. And true, Koala is a great starter, and you can export to Ableton. If you're an Ableton user, you can export your samples over to Ableton and finish. I do that a lot. Yeah, you might want to get a sense. Square Breaker, if you don't really feel like you need this, you might look at the S1, the same rolling thing where you could get, there you go. I mean, 205, you can get the free shipping. I'm just showing this to you. But yeah, here where you could have like your own little sequencer or whatever, a little sampler that you could just use into it if you wanted to create, some synth sounds or whatever. I mean, of course, you can get all this stuff and use AUM and map it in there. It's fine too. Let me catch up on the chat. All the cool toys need cool cash. Yeah, the workaround in Koala frustrate me. Wow, I want to go back to MPC. Yeah, Koala. I loved Koala more than MPC. Still have a passion for it, but the MPC. I mean, the MPC has sequencer. The sampling is easier in it as far as chopping samples and all that. But Koala is so portable. I mean, you're not going to be carrying an MPC Key 37 around, nor will you probably carry. You would have to have like the Live 2, and that thing is still pretty hefty for moving around. So sampling in from external audio. Yet I like the window screen size of editing samples in Koala. Yeah, Koala's editing is solid. Super easy too. Wish you could sample chop on pads like you can do with the MPC. When you say like you can do with the MPC, here let's open Koala and see if I can pull or work with you to see what you're saying. Is that Koala? Let me see if I got the right one. Okay, so when you say like the MPC, are you saying like you mean like go into one auto chop and do lazy chop, equal chops, transient chops? Is that what you're talking about? Wish you could sample. True, I use my 404 MK2 with the quad. Yeah, square breaker. I mean, just using that alone. The problem with the 404 is for me, is they don't allow you to use but 2 octaves. So if I want to play something out, I'd have to use Koala to play it out into the sampler and then resend it back. It's just weird the way they did that. Checking on the S1 and can get if yeah, you might be able to get one even cheaper. You never know, for sure. Deck Saver is good if you travel. Any dust cover will do. Yeah, that's true, Immersive. You got a point. Never touched the MPC, but it does look like the best sampler to get if you have the money. Yeah, MPC would be the best hardware sampler if you have the money. Just that's true. But the SP is really good. It's just a matter of you're working with audio primarily. The MIDI part of it is not good. The MPC is really good at all of it. Tap pads to bring in the part of the sample. Oh, tap pads to bring in. Well, so you're saying you want a live chop, but you want to do it in one of these pads. So you can do that with resample, if that's what I'm thinking. If you use resample and you touch a pad, see, and now here it is. If you want the metronome on, turn the metronome on, put it on a blank here, and just press play. Let the metronome play in the back. Start one. You can't hear it because I'm not turning the volume up, but you see what I'm saying? And now you, boom, you're done. Then turn the play off. You can turn the metronome off. It's that easy. Or you can record into one of the sequences and then use the resample loop and it'll resample. So like if this sequence I want to hear, I just click resample and boom, there's that sequence into done. So you can use a resample or do your resample loop if you want to resample the sequence. You can also put the mixer or use the effects. Press hold, set the effects that you want, multiple effects, whatever. Go right here, click resample loop, and it's going to sample with these effects on it. So go resample, boom. There it is. Well, this one didn't work because I was on the blank one. You got to press the sample you want to be on. All right, so we're on this one. My bad. Let's go to perform, press hold, whatever. All right, hit resample. Why does it keep doing it? All right, it's messing up right now, but usually what it does is it resamples with the effects on there. I don't know if this is the desktop that's wilding out on me or what. Oh, maybe I have to do it from record mic or something. Whatever the case may be, it'll resample the loop. All right, where were we? Lazy Chop. Yeah, well, Lazy Chop's there. So, I mean, if you really just want to go lazy, that's the easier way to do it. I thought you were talking about something different. Lazy Chop's there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to fix this where this particular thing stays lit up all the time. Because currently you have to press it and then start doing your chops. Chop to the beat or however you're going to do it. Or you could just go up and put them in however you want. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, they are fixing that because a few people have asked about this being start. So you could just automatically have it lit and your first chop would activate the chop. So anyway, that's something that might happen. I don't know for a fact it's going to happen. I just know it's been mentioned. Lazy Chop and Koala is putting in markers. Putting in markers. In the PC, as the sample plays, you hit a pad and it pulls it in. But that is one on one pad. Yeah, segments is a beast for there's iPad beat making. Yeah, you could do that in segments. I get what you're saying. Makes Koala Studio with the VST support. I don't know if Merrick is interested in doing that, but I can't speak for him. He does speak for himself. Koala's Lazy Chop isn't MIDI assignable though. That is true. It is a MIDI sound. I wanted what I was hoping that they would do, and I've asked about this a few times, was if you press record in here, like the ability to just set the chop markers inside of there, inside of the pad itself, without having to go to a different function, would have been cool. And then you could just play off this pad and resample. That makes sense what I'm saying? So if you were in here, you could have multiple chops in here, and you don't have to go to a whole different thing to find it, and then just play those chops into play them into a sequence or resample them live into here. Would have been cool to eliminate having to jump around screens. That was one of the things I was hoping for. Unfortunately, whereas segments is, yeah, so you could use segments with Koala. You could take you if you have AUM, you could do that. Put Koala on a rack, put segments at the top, drop the sample in segments, and then chop, and then use Koala to just capture the audio that you're chopping. iPad Viewer, we'll check it out. Yep. Oh, bro, it ain't no complaining around here. I always say you ain't complaining. I'm just explaining. All right. So you just explain what you feel. That's fine. You need a sequencer host. Yeah, you need a sequencer host with segments. Yeah, or you could do it like AUM. Yep. Segments is good, man. I don't use it that much because I'm not chopping that. Usually when I'm in here, I'm just stretch this little piece of audio. It might be like one or two chops. But if you're trying to chop with a more MPC like flow, yeah, you need segments. Because Koala's, no matter how much we say is not like the SP, is very similar to the SP workflow. There's a reason why they could merge and use some of the similarities with the MPC. With the SP404. It's very similar, which is the only thing that got me into the SP was using Koala. I would have never touched the SP because it always seemed like a difficult workflow. But as soon as I learned Koala and how to function in it, then I moved to the SP. And now I'm kind of going backwards, I guess, in a sense, going to the MPC. But the MPC is easy to use. It's very easy to use, in my opinion. Oh, you feel the same way, Breaker? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the problem with the SP is the menu jumping, the shifting, and doing all that. I think if they make a new SP 404, it would be cool to have a touchscreen just so they could eliminate some of the menu jumping. A lot of people complain about that, say, I don't want that touchscreen. But the touchscreen just means it would be easier to update, and it would be less shift combinations that you need if you just had a touchscreen, which is why you don't see a bunch of shift. Well, they do have shift stuff in the MPC, but it's not nearly as bad as what the SP has. Oh, okay, that's what you mean. Yeah, Square Breaker. I'm the same. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Koala got me to the MPC. So, but yeah, this little guy is intriguing me. But again, I'm not really wanting just another synth. There's so many synths out there. If I got something, I want to dedicate it towards styles that I actually like. And this isn't really one that I have to have, but I am thinking about that Sonicware one for sure. Let's see what their prices look like. And you can get these things used pretty cheap too. Their stuff kind of looks cheap, I know, in a way, but there's a that's why it's cheap. That's probably exactly why. It looks the look of it is real kind of basic looking. I know that good looking gear is more draws you in to use it more. So I totally understand if somebody says they don't like the look of it. Problem is with the looks you pay for that, you got to get some. You got to have the proper bread to get the good looking stuff. Sonicware. I didn't realize this was going to be this cheap. $239. I thought it was going to be way more than that because it looked like it was. But it's definitely pulling me in. When I see, I don't care for this type of screen, but the screen being like this makes it cheaper. so that you can afford it and not have to spend an arm and a leg. But just, get whatever you feel works for you. So yeah. Well, this is better than the Chroma. What's better than the Chroma consoles? Oh, Koala Sampler is better than the Chroma. I wouldn't compare that. That's two different things. I'm not sure if you're saying that. I may be wrong with what you're saying. Chroma, you're saying something is better than the Chroma consoles. iPad be making I love segments. Step on. Yeah, segments is good. I don't really care about the looks. Oh yeah, I agree with you, Square Breaker. The TE stuff is just too dang expensive. They're a design company. That's why though. They're about looks. Everything is designed and the way it looks, and so they sell you on a look. Oh, you're gonna go through? Okay, bro. The Chroma console looks good. I mean, it doesn't mean. I mean, to me, that's the one. Like, if I just want the one box that's gonna help me the MPC stuff to sound a little bit better and give it more flavor and just warm it up and make it sound gritty and that good stuff that we like to hear. I mean, you can't beat it for a price at that price on a boutique type of company pedal. And the good thing about boutique pedals, because I used to play guitar, I had a lot of pedals. If you buy boutique pedals, they tend to hold their value pretty good. So just so you know that boutique pedals hold their value really good. Yeah. Tracking segments. Yeah, segments is dope. I have it. I don't use it as much because I'm not chopping that much. I'm usually in Koala, chop something and send it over to Ableton real quick. But if segments had, it'd be cool if segments had, um, if they would allow the dev would have to do this. If he would just allow it to be on desktop also, so then you could send it to back and forth. So maybe you had like an iOS thing, you throw a sample and you start chopping, but then you want to finish it in Ableton and then you just send it over. Because the problem, once I get on desktop, if I'm going to use something to chop, I usually go with Serato Sampler. So that's just me. I would go that route before I would use. But yeah, if they put that, if I should talk to him. I haven't talked to him in a while, but ask him to see if he'll let it be on desktop. Like if you purchased it on iOS, you just get a desktop version of it too. That would be pretty cool. If I'm not mistaken, too, Segments works on iPhone too, which is kind of nice because there are some programs that just don't work on iPhone. But if you're on your iPhone, you can use it on there. I just bounce it out to audio, and you can have all your chops on different AU multi outs. That's a good point too. I mean, you could do that. But what I was thinking, well, see, with Koala, I can send it straight to Ableton, so it makes it easy. But I was thinking more or less if I want to finish the track or finish something I start in maybe in Ableton, but having a version of it on the desktop would make it easy because I could just send it back and forth. But that's just something I was thinking about. Yeah, it does work. Yeah, I think I remember seeing it on iPhone. I need to download it again and use it a little bit. It's been a while since I did it, but yeah. So if you're struggling with gear, I think iOS apps can kind of hold you over on a lot of stuff. But I think if I didn't have the MPC, I would probably grab this and just do all my stuff on desktop and then use this drive here to warm the sound a little bit, sonically speaking, warm the sound is right to make it sound a little more natural and a little more gritty. I probably would use something like this. I have a ton of plugins to use on desktop, and they work okay, but this right here is just it's different. So, but anyway, yeah, man, I like keys. That's my thing too. Is like if I don't have keys, I'm kind of like, yeah, yeah. You're right. iPad is definitely, definitely, yeah. $400 warm sheets. The house, the house gonna be cold paying for that. Yeah, the house would be cold paying for that. I think it's one of those things where it's an investment in one piece of gear that you can use to send to route anything through to to your to your dog. Now, I will say if you chose to, let's say you were gonna, you could make a choice, I guess, to go with the analog heat. This is just to make your digital sound a little bit better, I guess. But once I look at this price, then I'll run back to the Chroma. Like as soon as I see, like there's used ones here. Like here's somebody selling one for 500. That's still expensive, but not. But look how much they cost new, $770. I know people live and die by this thing, but I just, yeah, I can't do it. When I see that, I'm like, I'd rather pay 400 for the console. The good thing about this one is it supposedly has um, an interface built into it, so you could use it as an audio interface. Oh, this says used 700. Oh, they crazy. Ain't nobody paying it for no. I think new they're like maybe they're 8.99. But yeah, there's a see a sound card operation right here. So two in and two out sound card, perfect for the traveling musician. So you're warming the sound, I guess, but there's plugins that can do similar things because this is still digital, no matter what they say. I don't think it's there may be some analog circuitry going on in here. I don't know. But if you really need that, learn the plugins, problem solve, return to much. That's what I am, the return king. So the pedal is imminent. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's expensive, but I don't know. You can use some plugins if you want and just try to get the same thing. The Chroma and the Microcosm combo. I've been sampling people with videos of them trumpet crazy. Yeah. You know what though? Like for this price, yeah, I'm definitely like, okay, give me the Chroma console and the microcosm together, and I'll be matching it right around that price if you can find them used, and then you'll be good. But do you really want it that bad? That's the question. So I asked one person that has both if they could only have one. He said, because he's a sound design engineer, he said he went with the analog heat on that. But he said if you just want one that could get the right sound for you, he said go with the Chroma console. So that was his thoughts. I ain't gonna tell you who it is. You might know him, you might not, but it doesn't really matter. That was just his thoughts. Um, People get it in their hands and then say, I can get this with plugins and send it back or sell it used. Yeah, yeah, I don't. I guess it depends. Yeah, you can get it in plug. Listen, you can get a lot of stuff in a plugin if you're being truthful about it. No question. I mean, you can buy like the Fab Filter saturator. You can buy the Moog Fogger saturator. You can buy the Dr. Vibe for the SP404. I mean 303 rather stuff, which has the vinyl effects in there. You can get a lot of that stuff in plug-in, and you can sit there and tweak it, and you can do the whole nine if you want to go there. But some people still want a tactile feel. Some people just enjoy the tactile feel. Window shopping? Nah, man, I'm just enjoying the conversation. To be honest with you, I'm not buying anything off here right now. I'm enjoying the conversation. We're talking. We were talking about iOS stuff too, using iOS, and Portal is like the micro. Portal similar. Yeah, it's a little different. Oh, you got a 4-year-old iPad that's struggling. Yeah, yeah. The M1. Yeah, but you know what? When you buy the M1, it's expensive too. But you might better get one cheaper since they're what M4 is out now or something like that. Electrax. I don't know what that is. Blatant. Yeah, I think so too. iPad. I think the M1 is kind of a mandatory thing. It's kind of a mandatory thing. I mean, even if you get the like I'm using the Apple, what is it? The fifth gen, the one with the M1, it's the Air, the iPad Air, fifth gen. It's 256. I don't do enough stuff on the iPad to stress out about getting some fast iPad, so I'm sticking with mine. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever used Electra VST. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, the Osmos. Probably not because the price is probably crazy. Would I use it? I mean, sure, if somebody gave it to me, but for that price, absolutely not. 1800 dollars. Ain't no way. Nope. In the words of Aretha Franklin, ain't no way. Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't buy this. But I'm not sitting around making. I mean, I don't. I'm not a big fan of that MPE stuff. You want to be sometimes, and then the idea is cool, but I'm not really. Especially at that price, I'm definitely not a fan. I got a cool mini mixer coming. Hope it's good. Called the Mixer by My Boats. Votes. I mean, My Boats. Come on, Ben. Let's see. M I C K MICKXER. Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, it's a passive mixer with noise filtering. $18. I mean, well, you can't go too wrong with that. It's basically gonna be like $25 by the time you buy it. But I've seen these before, where you can send like a bunch of different instruments out to one. This would be cool. You're gonna use this with your P6, your two P6 that you have. So on the Osmos, that's a no go for me because of the cost. Not because I wouldn't use it. It's just I don't really for the cost I wouldn't pay for it. Yeah, super cheap. You can also buy pots for them. Interesting. Wonder if they have a USB noise filter that works. Are you asking about if my votes has that? Because this is all you can see right here. This is all passive, so it's just I think it's just passing the sound. If I'm not mistaken, of multiple instruments through it. I actually think it's a good deal for the cost. iPad MPE ain't working, ain't worth it. Yeah, I agree, and you know because you've had the Roly stuff. Yep, you got the Seaboards and never used them. MPE is not the move. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not the move for me. I know that. It's just overpriced for what you're gonna get on it. You're gonna use it one time, and then you're gonna be like, great, and then you're not gonna want to use it again. It's like one of those paperweights. Did you buy it? Like I'm not a trinket person. I don't like trinkets. Like when people give you a trinket, I'm like, cool, and I stick it in a box somewhere and I never use it. It serves no I mean, it's cool to look at. It's like nice, a decorative piece. But yeah, if I can't use it, then I kind of don't want it. What else? I wonder if okay, yeah, we read that already. The Osmos is the future, though. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against it. It's just for $1,800, it's not gonna be my future. That's all I'm saying. They don't got filters. Okay, ferret choke things or the scam. iPad be making facts. Yeah, I got the Roly Block. I tried the Roly Block and it didn't work. It was terrible. Um, MPE seems like a flashy sell. Exactly, Crazy Wabbit. It's a flashy selling point to get you to buy it. As soon as you get it, you're gonna be realizing this is stupid. I really don't need this. Like, what is the point? Roland MC101. Well, what's up, Meerkat Music? Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I would go. This is really interesting. Ali, I'm gonna have to look into it. I've seen it before. I didn't never try it. This would be kind of fun if you got pocket operators or little things like. I love the sound that comes from the pocket operator, the PO33. I don't like the new stuff they got, but the older one, the sound that it does with the sample sounds really good. But that's what I'm hoping that the P6 will do. Will give me that sound that I like from the pocket operator. Okay, let's see. Who was I looking at? Somebody had mentioned something. Oh, Meerkat. You were talking about the MC 101. Let's take a look at that again. Yeah, so 519 looks like on sale, normally 550. You can get one for like 300 used, it looks like. So, yeah, I mean this, I've heard like I said the sounds in it are really good. What I don't like about this thing here is the bass sounds in it are terrible. Now you can sample in your own sound. There's filters on it. I mean, it's cool, but I couldn't stand unless you want synth bass. I'm talking about real bass sounds that don't sound as good to me. And it's a 4 track, so yeah, you could say you could compare it to the Move. I think it's a little bit more menu divey than the Move, but and the screen is definitely smaller. The pads are really good on this one. The Move pads are probably going to be okay. You know what the Move would do? It would move back to the store. You'd have to issue it a return. For me, I'm gonna need that return on that Move because it'll move right back to that store. I just know I wouldn't keep it. Shots fired by Meerkat. How y'all feel about the Safari pedals? Okay, Safari pedals. I'll have to look that up. Let's see if it's on here. Safari. Is Safari pet? Let me see if I can find something. I doubt you're talking about that. Let me go here and do. Is Safari Pedals an app or is it? Oh, it's a plugin. Oh, I've seen these before. I think what's his name? Milo uses them. Got like 50 screens open. I'm trying to get back here. They're okay. The ones I've heard were pretty good, but it's a plugin, right? So, I mean, $38 for a plugin. They're probably good. I'm over buying too many plugins because a lot of the plugins you need are right there in the DAW that you have. So unless it's just like and you can get the whole bundle for 150 bucks right now. So if you were going to get that, I would say just buy the bundle. I wouldn't buy one for 38. That's even on sale. That's crazy. I would just grab the bundle. Then at least you have everything. I don't know if I would use them. I'm not gonna say they're bad because I just don't know. Well, at least they have trials, so that's cool. I'm not gonna download them, but that's cool. They have a trial. I'll tell you what plugins if you want like something I like personally is the Good Hertz stuff. The Good Hertz plugins are really good here. They're kind of expensive, but they give you a 30-day trial on them. And this one, where is it at? Volv compressor is a 303. This is based on the SP303. Lossy is now in a pedal by what's that company? Bleat, not is it Bleat, not Bleat. What is it called? Chase Bliss. They put this one in a pedal form now, but the Volv compressor, I actually have this one, and it's really good for that 303 sound. But you don't really need it. I mean, it's good though. It's probably better. It's probably It's more expensive, but it's definitely better than, in my opinion, than most of the 303 plugins I hear. Except for I would say Dr. Vibe is more affordable and it's on desktop and on. So I would go Dr. Vibe before I would say buy this, although I have it. So um yeah, 707 is popular still. Not portable though. Seeing the 707 in a store is definitely not portable. You can pick up MC 101 for less than a move. Absolutely. You can get it for around 300 bucks. We kind of looked at that. Most of the sound is mastered a bit up to broadcast level with those Safari and Tone Booster plugins. Yeah, Tone Booster stuff is good. That's enough. If you want Tone Booster, it's pretty good. I have a few of them. I have them all on desktop on iOS, but on desktop, I only have I have Barricade, which I use on my master all the time, and they're affordable too, by the way. Plus, you can use these for free in the demo version. You can use them, and there's unlimited demo version, by the way, on Tone Booster stuff. So I support this guy by buying whatever I actually use. These two I use. I use Barricade on my master, and I use Bit Juggler every now and then when I want to get the sample rate reduction. This is the only plugin I know that I have that does it, and it's pretty good. I'm dying to see how this P6 is going to come out, and this one just released, and it's actually really nice. The Equalizer Pro for shaping is good. I have that one too on the iOS. Some of these other ones I don't use. A Real Bus is nice too. If you want that cassette, that's their version of that. So definitely check them out. The Equalizer 4 is good, but the Pro, I would say get the Pro also. And all these on iOS are cheap. On desktop, I think, let me see. Look, 29 euro. So 30 bucks maybe, or $35 or something like that. They're super cheap. Oh, and this is on desktop pricing. So on iOS, they're probably like 19, like 18 bucks, 14 bucks, 10 bucks, something like that. Gonna be like $10, at least $10 cheaper. So if you need like plugins like this, I go Tone Booster. Good Hertz is like if you want that, it's a little bit more quality, I think, involved in these. They sound really good. Safari stuff, I can't even speak on it because I never used it. But all that stuff is really good. What else do we have? Most of my sound is mastered. Okay. Rabbit, yeah, so many sounds. I'd like to get some Swan. Definitely Swan instruments. I use those all the time. If you ever listen to my music, you hear horns or violins or anything in there, it's usually done with Swan instruments. I use it religiously, literally. And I use on desktop I have the saxophones and trumpets, but on iOS I have pretty much all of the main ones on there. I think I did a video on them too. Yeah, man, you can't go wrong with Swan instruments, and you can get them on iOS now. And they even work on the phone too. If you buy them on with the iPad, if you have an iPhone, they work on the iPhone. OPZ, you actually sold that to me. Yeah, the OPZ is a great sequencer. The sounds in it suck, but if you put your own sounds in it, it sounds good, and the sequencer on it is really nice. It's great for, I think, for a sequencer. It's super portable, has a microphone on it. Not that you need a mic, but it's on there. Um, it's a good MIDI controller for that. I was thinking about, I'm trying to think what other ones though that are more affordable. Because okay, so the thing about the OPZ here, let's go back to, we can go to Reverb. I don't think they're selling it anymore, but TE at least isn't selling anymore. So you have to get one used somewhere. OPZ. Let's go back. So you can hunt around for one, but be careful because the buttons sometimes get sticky. I've heard on some of them. But you're looking at least three. Here's a B stock one for $377. $500 is what they usually were running, brand new. So if you can find one for used for like 300, it's not bad. It's super portable. I mean, this thing is like a remote control for your TV. Anyone use Transient by Baby Audio? I have Transient. I don't use it. I've used it maybe once or twice on a song to create like a bridge break, but I don't. I would never tell anybody to buy it. I got it so cheap, but I would never tell anybody to buy it unless you just really want it. MBC is good. I do have that one too. Yeah, definitely more menu diving. Yeah, the menu diving on the 101 is kind of a detour. It kind of pushes me away. I'm not, and then the bass sounds aren't good. So for me, when you have bad bass sounds, I'm like, I'll pass. But it is in the perfect form factor. If they ever update it, make better sounds in it. As far as the bass goes, the pianos are nice in there. They're okay. Again, you gotta doctor them up, and then it's like, do I want a menu dive to doctor that up? Not really. So yeah, um, I use a better maker EQ for mid and side processing. I know what mid and side processing is. Better maker EQ. Let's see what that is. Because I've never used it, to be honest with you. Oh, Plugin Alliance. Are they still around or did they shut down? Ooh, $300. I bet it sounds good. I feel like Plugin Alliance went out of business though. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, it's by Native Instruments. They ain't going out of business no more. Plugin Alliance. Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about that. Interesting though. Yeah. And I would take an OPZ if I could find one for about 150 bucks. I just wouldn't, because I don't want it for anything but to use it as a sequencer. So that's the only thing I'll say is that it's pretty cool a sequencer and some of the stuff you can do in it. SimCity. TC Helicon Blender for all my hardware, Voca and Microfreak as an audio interface. MIDI and using the CME U6 MIDI Pro. All feed into a Ableton Live external instrument template. Meerkat, you the one. You got that stuff lined out. So the Blender, is that the one that's the hockey puck? What was the one that's the Helicon? Let's see. The Blender. There's the one that Echo always talks about. It's like a hockey puck. I don't really know that one that well. Let's see if it populates. Nope. Yeah, I don't know that one. But there are other stuff you can use to do it. You like the Voca? That's cool. I haven't used the Voca ever. I think I've had the Voca sound, but I never had it. Transit 2 out tomorrow. Wait, there's a second version already? Or is it an update? Is part 2 the update? Hold on. Let's go here, baby audio. Yeah, I do window shop probably more than sometimes it's good though to window shop because then you get over it. It's like when I used to go to the store, I just show up at the store. I never wanted humanoid, didn't even interest me. 50 years audio. Go to plugins. Humanoid essentials. Okay, so there's yeah, so this is the one I have, but I think I got it for like $39. I feel like it was cheap. Interesting. If it's coming out with part 2 tomorrow, that'd be pretty cool to see what it does. Interesting. $399, get all 12. Some of the video audio stuff is cool. I'm not a fan of their reverb. Be honest with you, even this BA1, I didn't care for it. But I'm not into the 80 synth sounds like that. It just doesn't appease me. And I have some of these packs if I'm not mistaken. But again, I'm just not into it. Spaced Out is one I never tried, but it seems more like something I would be interested in. But I wasn't. And I Heart New York compressor is pretty good. It's okay. I do have the tape, and I did like some of the stuff in it. There's a couple presets that I used, but only on iOS. I never use it on desktop because I have so much stuff that does that better. But anyway, that's baby audio for you. I like them. I am still interested in a OPZ, but I have to get it too cheap to be really moved to do it. Oh yeah, you like the OPZ? Yeah. Yeah, if you could get an OPZ for cheap enough and you don't mind trying to learn the workflow, some of it's pretty easy to understand, but because it has no screen, for me it's a little more challenging with no screen. It would be cool if they redo the OPZ and give a new version and put even if it's a mini screen, just a little screen here, just so you know what you're changing setting wise. Because even if it's, let's say they come out and they're like $500 new, that's still a good price for one if it had just a small screen where I don't have to hook another screen. Because I know you can use the app with your phone, but I don't want to do all that. Just put a little screen on there. Let me know if if I'm adjusting certain things or whatever. Would be kind of cool. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Tempo Pad Z1. um, let me go to Amazon because I think that's where I saw it, right? The Tempo. They're gonna show me something weird. What's it called? Is it Tempo? Yeah, Tempo. I put Temp. Lord have mercy. I'm gonna learn how to spell. I'm gonna get it together. Tempo Pad. Yes. So here's. I think this is it right here. Donner makes a lot. These guys make a lot of stuff. Here's. I think this is it. Yeah. That is interesting, but I'd go with Novation before I would spend money on this. I mean, this is $140, so that's not super expensive. And this one has a apply $18 off coupon, so you could get it for almost less than 100. But it doesn't. I've seen people do videos, and I think they did it because they got it for free. I don't think they're sitting around using that to make music. That's the problem. Is like a lot of these guys, and I get it. If somebody gave me a piece of free gear, I would do a video for them about it. But I have to be honest whether I would be using the gear or not, because that makes a difference. Yes, and I don't use it. By the way, I sent that thing back. It wasn't. I bought it hoping. Well, first of all, it was mono and it wasn't stereo output, I think, or something like that. So it's great for like plugging in to do a guitar on it. But I ended up not keeping it because it was not really good. Yeah, it's like a hockey puck. Yeah, it wasn't good. So I'm very honest about that, though. It wasn't paid or any. They didn't pay me to do that. They didn't send it. I bought it with my own money, and it was just not good. Because I was hearing hype about it. I was like, oh, cool. I'll try that out. As soon as I got to it, I was like, nope. But there is one that's like a hockey puck. I think they call it a hockey puck. I don't know where it's at. That allows you to route the audio. Echo Opera knows about it. He has it and uses it, as far as I know. He uses it as like kind of his replacement for because everybody was gassing for the T6 teenage engineering stuff, which people still use. I think it's called a T6. TET. Is it the T6 or TX6? Yeah, this little guy here. DeckSaver's charging $55 for a DeckSaver for this. It just blows my world. Okay, and this is not the normal price, but that's somebody in Italy selling it. But look at this little screen. I mean, for a mixer, if you need that many devices going in there, I get it. But I ain't no way I'm paying that kind of money for that. Just not happening. The TE stuff is just way overpriced. And it's very, I get it, it's boutique, whatever. It ain't that good though. But yeah, the OPZ is the only one that interests me. That if I found one, like I said, for like 150 bucks, I'd be interested. And I don't need all the extra modules. Although I would take that green one that they have. So anyway, that's a whole different story. Let's see. Anyway, you did a review. Yes, hockey, but yeah, Crazy Rabbit. Life is real. Yes, desktop only. Been on the beta. Oh, you've been on the beta. Okay, nice. Is it better than the first one? Because I found myself using the first one a little bit, but just like, it kind of got old quick. I also have Cable Guys stuff, and I don't use it either. It would be like a once in a while I might say, oh, I want to slow something down or do something like halftime or do. That was kind of the reason why I use their stuff. Yeah, I would pass on the Sanudo. Yeah, I mean the problem with those things is they're just a takeoff of the Launchpad from Novation. So I just go with Novation before I spend money on a knockoff. When they're really not that much difference. I mean, you talking about that one is probably like 100, little over $100. You can get a Launchpad for right around on sale maybe, or even used for like 150, 160 bucks, about the same. Yeah, I don't need a Launchpad. T needs to make me dinner. Shoot, T needs to pay for my plane ticket, let me tour the factory, and do a few things for that price. It's just a bit much because now, in the markets and before where there wasn't anything like it, now there's so many things that emulate and do the same type of thing to where, I would go with Digitac stuff, even though they're expensive too, before I would take some of the TE stuff. Some of the TE stuff. This one intrigues me only because it's super portable. I mean, you can sit anywhere and make music with this thing. But again, no screen, kind of disappointing for that price. And you could use your phone, I guess, with the screen so you know what's going on. But yeah, I don't know. It'd have to be cheap enough. Yeah, that's right. You need some shares in T for that price. Facts. They need to give me something. Shoot, just talking about them, I feel like they need to pay me. All right. Well, I'm probably gonna end this. It's been fun chit chatting it up about gear and looking at stuff that everybody's using or thinking about getting. Keep chiming in. Let me know. Could use it to flush and a toilet flush pass. Enjoyed the last show. Yeah, man, it's fun. It's always good to talk about gear. You kind of get it's kind of like a therapy in a way to talk about it, but you don't have to go press the button to buy it all the time. And then just take your time and listen to what other people are saying, and hopefully can help you in making a better choice on picking what you're gonna get. Watch some videos online about it, and then make a executive decision, and always set yourself up. I don't care what nobody say, with a way out, like a return policy. Because if you get the itch and you pull the trigger and you can't return it, you're gonna be mad if you don't like it, or you're gonna have to sell it for less, and then it's gonna make you not happy. So appreciate it, Crazy Rabbit. Enjoy it too, man. I always enjoy everybody stopping by. If you can hit the like on the way out, I think most people have. Gear window shopping, it's a thing. It is a thing. We all like to do it. Got a cap on the idea. Great stream. Appreciate you, Square Breaker, for stopping in and chiming in on your thoughts too. Except, yeah, Zounds, them son of a guns, them. No. It's like I said, I don't have nothing against them person, but their business practice of choosing that way is lame. But whatever. The company who took over the X range from CME are due to drop a new keyboard. You know what? I saw that they were doing that, but I haven't heard anything about it for a long time. It feels like it's been over a year since I heard about that. That would be pretty cool. If they drop that keyboard with the synth, that might be something worth having. Because I used to like that keyboard a lot. Yeah, if you hit the like, yeah, appreciate you, Sim City, stopping in. Ali Star, Meerkat, Crazy Rabbit, Square Breaker. You have the Hockey Puck blender. Yeah, so the Hockey Puck blender is cool. I actually think that's a cool piece. If you, I don't know the price on it, but I do want to try that thing that Ali was talking about, which is the little passive mixer. Especially, but I know you can route. As far as I've heard, you can route the if you're dealing with these right here, the Roland P6 and the R stuff, that you can route them together. So I'm not sure if that works or not, but I've heard you can. But I guess if you want to route them and go through, you end up going through one port anyway. So it's really not much of a difference unless that port disperses them to separate tracks, which is what I think you get with the TX6, which is probably why a lot of